Um, you know, I've tried to make sure I've stayed offline throughout, this entire. I'm not gonna say I try to make sure I stay offline. I made it my business to not report on, any of this stuff with Nicki, the Cardi, the Rock Nation, um, all of these places and everything here with Gotti is alleged. But it's starting to become apparent. It's kind of like I'm gonna chastise you until I can't chastise you anymore, or I'm gonna poke and poke and poke until you explode. Like I've never seen someone throw the rock and hide their hands as much as the Breakfast Club has, and it's only in this situation surrounding Nicki. And I hate that I even have to speak on it because it's I haven't reported on it for a reason. But the hate is now becoming apparent. They put out a video 5 hours ago and they labeled it Nicki Minaj called out Keisha Kayor in the Breakfast Club for no reason, right? So we're playing now as to why we don't know why she said what she said. As far as the tweet directed to Keisha Kayor, I cannot speak for that. What I can speak for is when I saw the clips. This is prior to Nicki Tweet Fest last night. This is prior to Nicki Spaces. This is prior to Tasha K. This is prior to anybody coming on Twitter saying anything. When I saw the interview, I said, okay, we knew Gucci was going through these things. Gucci's up there promoting the book. That's first and foremost. But I also said, why does it seem like, you know, they're trying to get Gucci to speak about someone that was recently on a rant or that was recently crashing out? But then I'm thinking, like, what celebs, you know, could we think of that's having a moment of they're having this schizophrenic, alleged moment or something like that? Like, I've been trying to think what other artist has had that when they were having this conversation with Gucci. So it seems as though they were poking to get them to say Nicki. Like, they were itching for someone to say Nicki. They was itching for someone to just say Nicki name. And I think, this is my opinion, by them itching for them to say Nicki name, they took that opportunity to use that as a moment to poke at the bear and to throw the rock and hide your hands. Jess then goes to say, oh, we don't know. Jess, you're the same person when the series of tweets were going out between the Nicki and Cardi thing 2 weeks ago, post the album release. You were the same person that sat on the Breakfast Club and you said, where's Kenny? She's locking herself in the bathroom, during these episodes of da 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 da. All of this is alleged here with Gotti, but it's on tape as well. You said all of that just to now have them come up there yesterday and you couldn't get them to say her name during the segment of, oh, which artists do you reach out to when you see them going through these episodes? What artists have we seen go through episodes outside of Kanye within recent years? I would like to know. That's on a mainstream level that Gucci Mane, of all people, would reach out to. We ain't talking about Beyonce. We're talking about Gucci Mane. We know what his span is. We know the artists that he is associated with. We know who his brand is and what his viewership is. There's only a certain amount of people that Gucci would even have reach out to. So who are you talking about here? Who are you speaking about? Who are you trying to get him to allegedly say something about outside of the person that y'all have been riding so hard for on this platform just said that someone was allegedly dealing with the schizophrenia, correct? Okay. Then you go and get on there this morning and you say, Nicki Minaj calls out Keisha K.O. in the Breakfast Club for no reason. And then you title that as your video. Then it's like, oh, well, where did Nicki feel hit at? Where did she feel? Yo, she felt just like I did. Anybody with a brain that sat there and watched it, y'all were itching for that moment for someone to say her name. And then it went as even further as the conversation was just so awkward about who reached out to Gucci or who didn't speak to Gucci. Why would you double back and say, well, people don't realize that Nicki and French Montana came from that camp? Yeah, but Gucci just said prior to you saying that he reached out to Drake, Nicki, and all of these people and apologized for the things that he was saying while he was in said episode, quote, his wife, right? It's not like we just gonna poke and we're 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 gonna poke because we can. This is not the first storm Nicki has had to weather. This has happened in 2018, 2017, started from 2017 on till, then they tried to polish it up. Then allegedly it was conversations on the back end, to get them on a tour, to do all of these things. And, it's kind of hard. Now that Nicki came out and wanted to have a good little laugh for Kiki after someone said they were going to outsell, and then she continued to talk about the people she's been speaking about, it's, oh, now we're hearing stories about this person dealing with this and how they reach out to this artist and this, that, and the third. And then you label it, Nicki comes for Keisha Kaur. I don't really understand why Lauren is consistently and heavily on reporting Nicki in her case, but when Nicki was on a world tour selling and breaking records, these things were not discussed on the Breakfast Club or anywhere, any publication. We weren't discussing what the tour numbers are. We weren't discussing how she was breaking records and setting the tone for female rappers. We wasn't talking about how long Pink Friday 2 stayed on the Billboard charts. We wasn't reporting on any of that. But now we're reporting on her tweets. We're reporting on something that happened on Twitter. I have not been live or reported on any of this for specific reasons, because I hate when it comes to Nicki, it's like, oh, you always defending da-da-da-da, you have nobody, da-da-da. Why is a man talking about this, da-da-da? Just like they try to call out this and that. It ain't about that. It's about the industry and what y'all doing. Y'all tried it with Drake. The only thing about Drake is he's a man, so he's not feeding it. Nicki's the female. I can't decipher the two between on why she's speaking out or she's saying certain things. Drake said what he needed to say. Drake ain't get this much backlash. Y'all are, let me say this, and I'm going to end this, because I don't want to go too further in this. The truth of the matter is, these artists did not sign 360 deals. They're not tied to these companies. They don't owe anybody this or that. So the problem is they have made all of this money, and now they cannot be controlled, and they still have a powerful fan base that is pushing them to the top and will continue to push them to the top. And I'm going to leave on that note.